Hey everyone, welcome back to Help with Christians. I am Antoinette and I want to talk to you today about Christian refuges. What are they and do you even want to go to them? Well, let's get into what God has told many of his seers and prophets, what Christian refuges are, also known as Arks of safety, why we would need them, and what you would need to do if you wanted to prepare one yourself. I've been feeling very called to make this video for a few weeks now. God has been quickening my soul to kind of bring this to the forefront and kind of hash out, explain what these are and what you would need to make one yourself. Now, there are several different prophets and seers that I know of that have been talking about places of safety for Christians, and it is certainly biblical. God always prepares his people for what is to come. He gives the prophets a warning, and he also has given dreams, like Joseph being given the gift to interpret the Pharaoh's dreams about the famine. So in order for them to prepare and prosper in those times. Noah built an ark. He wasn't removed from the earth. He was on the earth in a safe zone that God had him prepare for many years. And there him and his family survived through God's wrath. Also, Moses brings the people into Egypt. We know this story. What were they doing in Egypt? Wandering around. They didn't have marketplaces. They probably didn't have a good chance for fertile soil to grow their food. We know that they complained about what they didn't have to eat and what they were given to eat and their water supply. So you can imagine that clothing was probably an issue too, right? Entertainment, all these things. So we see that the people in Moses' time obviously had a very negative attitude to the way God was providing for them, and they continuously had the negative effects. So what is an ark of safety? During the reign of the Antichrist, God has chosen to put us behind closed doors, as Isaiah 26:20 says, "Go, my people, enter your chambers and close the doors behind you. Hide yourselves for a brief moment until the wrath is past." So God is telling us that we are going to go into a secret place for a while he clears the earth of the evil that is on it. And for a time being, we will be protected from part of the reign of the Antichrist. Just like Noah built an ark, built a safe place for him and his family while there was wrath brought upon the earth, just like Joseph was able to prepare, God gave him insight on how to prepare. We will be safe in these places that God has called to be refuges. So there are several different prophets and seers that are already preparing these places of refuge. There's a woman named Lois Vogel-Sharp. She is a prophet. She lives in New York, and she has been preparing a refuge for quite a while. Lois Vogel-Sharp is a prophet that has been given many details with biblical teachings on these places of refuge. So I will put a video to that teaching in the description box below so you can kind of focus on the biblical teaching from someone who has direct insight from God, and that way she can give you the information straight from the horse's mouth, per se. This video, I'm going to just give you more of the details of how to create, how to organize a Christian refuge if you're feeling like God's calling to you to it, and giving you more details on how they will be utilized in the time when we are called to go to them. I want to mention there's Christina Gallagher. She's another prophet that has several different Christian refuges around the world. She has one in Ireland, she has one in Florida, and I think she has a couple more actually in the United States. I will put her website in the description box below so you can find out more information about her, so you can see, you know, how God's calling her to make refuges throughout the world also. This video, I'm going to mainly talk about the detailed descriptions that God has been giving to John Leary to prepare his Christian refuge. I feel like there's been a lot of really good step-by-steps given to John Leary and how to make, you know, discern if God is calling you to your own and what you could do to have your own Christian refuge if you're feeling so called. So why does God want more people to have Christian refuges? Well, just like in the Bible, Jesus tells us that the laborers are few. That is the same thing with these Christian refuges. God needs more laborers, and that could possibly be you if you're feeling called. If you think that you should maybe take on this task, let me give you some more information. So one of the reasons why I really wanted to make this video is because the Palma Volcano is still going pretty strong. If you watch my last videos about that, you probably know that if that really has a strong earthquake, a strong eruption, and a landslide comes from that, then there can be a chain of events that actually will devastate the East Coast. And that has been something that God has mentioned to several different prophets and seers to keep an eye on. And that is another reason why it's important to make sure your house is blessed in some of the ways I'm going to explain. But also, if you have a Christian refuge, your house is protected from these natural disasters, even if you're in one of these dangerous zones that would have, you know, otherwise total devastation. One of the reasons why my family has discerned to have our own Christian refuge is because our family size is so large, and we have a very unique lifestyle where we live very far away from big cities, and we live very far away from all of our family. We thought that it was very important to have our own security the way that God has been promising it, and we also have felt called to help others. So when you're discerning this, if you're gonna organize a Christian refuge, think about that. You're agreeing to opening your home up when these disasters come, when God calls us to Christian refuges, that you are opening your home up to other Christians. You are preparing as God has asked you to prepare your home, and you generally have to be living in, you know, a state of you're living as a Christian. So once you've done that discerning, you're going to pray over your house specific consecration prayers to make your home and your land a Christian refuge. And once you do that, God gives you an angel just to protect your refuge. So you have a brand new angel assigned to you for this mission. And then when the time comes that God calls everybody to the Christian refuges, only those who God has sealed on the forehead with a cross, a marking, will be able to enter the Christian refuges. So your angel that is watching over your Christian refuge is going to look at every single person that wants to come in your refuge. And if they do not have the seal of the cross that God has given them, they will not be able to enter. So you won't have to worry about, someone infiltrating that is there for not good purposes. Only those marked with the sign of the cross will be able to enter your home. That being said, they might be strangers. So when I talked about the laborers are few, there is not a ton of people willing to do these refuges like God needs. So they're going to have quite a few people to come to these refuges that you may not know. So something to consider, but again, you will be protected with God only allowing in those that are truly for him. So, okay, so moving on. What do you need besides praying over your home in your land? Well, you're going to need food to feed people. God has spoken on at least having one thing, one container of everything, of whatever you would eat, and believing that he can multiply and he's going to do these great miracles and multiply the food. So again, people like John Leary or Lois Vogel Sharp, who have been working on these refuges for many years, probably have a large food supply. But if you are just getting into it, which God has said many people are just starting to get into this. Maybe I shouldn't say many. Some people. There are some people that are finally just starting to get into this preparing mode for the Christian refuges. God is going to have to multiply the food. So that's something that you're going to have to believe he can do, and he will do for you. So I know my family in particular, every time we go to the store, I get a little bit extra of something. But I have been trying to do a wide variety instead of a deep variety, if you know what I mean. Like, not just one type of bean that we really like. I'm getting many different types of beans, even the ones that I really haven't cared for in the past, or I just don't cook often, because now we have a variety for whoever comes and different palettes and things like that, if that makes any sense. So moving on from there, water storage. So originally when God was telling John Leary to prepare these refuges, he was saying that people would need water sources on their property. So John Leary, I know, dug a well in order to have access to water through the well on his property. Other people may have had streams or different natural resources to utilize. Well, at this point, again, since there's such little amounts of laborers, less people than God was really hoping would sign on for this project, he has said at least have some water on your property, or in your home, some containers, and he will again multiply and refill. So we do not live near a water source, and we do not live in a place where we can do a well. That's not an option for us right now. So we have been collecting water in multiple different ways. We have some rain barrels on the outside of our home that are collecting water. And we have we've been buying the 1 gallon jugs. We have those stored. So we are going to believe that when we run low on these water containers, God is going to miraculously refill them so that we are not without the most important thing one would need in a time of crisis, which is water. God has also said that he will replace fuels. So we've gotten a generator. Generator takes gasoline. We have a griddle, a cooking device outside that takes propane. And we also have some oil lanterns that takes a type of fuel as well. So all of these fuels, God has also said he will multiply if we believe he can. So just having a little bit of each will go a long way when it's needed, but you do have to have these things on hand for God to multiply. Okay, also with having room for people to live stay with you, right? How are, my living situation, we have a lot of kids, so I don't think people are going to want to bunk with my kids. But God has told John Leary that the angels can build a high rise in an hour, and that this will be a protected, your refuge is protected. So that means it's even protected from the eyes of the enemy. So don't have any worries about not having enough room. God is going to be doing some crazy, amazing miracles, and he's going to make sure that whatever you offer, he will be able to multiply. And that includes having room to house people. It will be supernatural. I'm pretty excited to see how the angels are going to decorate. I think that's going to be pretty amazing. Moving on to what we will be doing. What are you going to be doing in these Christian refuges? Well, every day you will have worship. Daily Mass will be either provided by a priest, or daily Holy Communion will be administered by an angel. How amazing is that? That is like incredible. So people will have jobs as well. You're running a community. Noah had to feed the animals. We're going to have to feed people. We're going to have to take care of different animals that may be with us. Yes, you could bring your animals. They will all get along. Again, another miracle from God. Praise be to him. And we will probably be gardening. We will probably have sanitation, laundry, teaching children, many different things like that. So be prepared to find out what people's strengths are as they come into your refuge, and then to be able to assign them to different tasks. Something that everybody will actually have to have is 1 hour of adoration per day. So there will be perpetual adoration. That means you sit in front of Jesus in the monstrance 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. So Jesus will be present at your refuge. So there needs to be at least one person assigned per hour for that. I actually purchased a monstrance from autumn.com. I will put a link to that website in the description. It was a very cost-efficient one. It's very simple, but it will do the job when it is necessary. So I have not had that blessed yet. It's a little strange to ask a priest to bless that at this point, but I believe, when the time comes, we will either have a priest that comes to our refuge or the angels, and I'm sure God will bless it at that time. When are you going to know when to go to a refuge? God is going to give us an inner locution. He is going to speak to us internally and tell us it is time to go. So it's time to get your backpack, or I'm assuming it's time for people to start coming to your refuge if you're the organizer of one. So God keeps repeating, prepare your refuge, prepare your refuge, prepare your refuge. So when? We don't know. Whenever God says. But in the time being, there are still going to be natural disasters. There's still going to be some chaos coming to a city near you. So you should be preparing your home spiritually on a regular basis. So some of the ways that we prepare our home is blessing the home with holy water, using either the holy water or anointing oil to bless the thresholds of our home and our windows. We have blessed crucifixes throughout our home. We also have a purple scapular from the prophecies of Marie Julie Jeheni that said in the end times, homes blessed with these scapulars will have a special protection. We also have had our home blessed with a yearly blessing every Epiphany. We do that blessing. And then we also have a picture of the Sacred Heart of Jesus that has been consecrated for our home as well. So we do have many different layers of protection, because just like the enemy attacks us in multiple ways, God has given us even more ways to protect ourselves, protect our families, and our homes. So in the time being, I would definitely bless your home and ask for spiritual protection. And then as you're discerning, maybe go through some of these things and ask God if this is what He is calling you for. I hope that this is giving you some insight. I would love to know if you have heard of a Christian refuge before this video, if you know of any prophets that are preparing them, if you've already started preparing one yourself. Would love to know some information so we can all kind of help each other figure this thing out. I know that this is a lot to take in, and it's a lot to prepare for. Even though I've been preparing for a few years now, it still sometimes seems a little overwhelming, sometimes seems lonely, but to know that other people are in the same boat and are trying to answer the call of God the same way you are, that is a beautiful way to build Christian community and strengthen each other, right? Iron sharpens iron, so let's help each other. Let's be help of Christians together. So if you have any questions, put them in the comment box below. If you have any encouragement, I would love to hear some of that in the comment box below. And thanks for checking this out. Please share and like and subscribe so we can beat the algorithm and get all this information out to as many Christians as possible. Thank you, and God bless you.